Welcome to another TechHelp video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. We are back with the fitness database. This is part 15 of my fitness database series. As a quick reminder, whether or not you care about tracking fitness or food or exercise or any of that stuff, that doesn't matter because the techniques that I'm showing you in this database series are the same for any database you're going to build. So we're building a real-world database that people are going to use, and all the tips that I'm showing you with the forms and the queries and the VBA and the SQL, all of that apply to any Access database, whether it's customers, inventory, orders, whatever. It's all the same skills, right? It's all Legos. You can put them together however you want. This is just the example that I'm using for this database. Now, if you're a member, you know it's been about 2 weeks since I posted part 14. If you're not a member, it's only been a couple days because I schedule these to go out in the future, right? But as I posted about in my captain's log, I've had some dental problems over the past couple weeks, and it's kept me from being able to move my jaw, so I haven't been recording any videos. So now that I'm actually able to properly work again, we're going to continue with this series. Now, I will say that over the past couple weeks, even though I've been mostly limited to eating yogurt and soft foods, I have still been using this database on my own. And I've got to realize that the way we've been building it isn't exactly what I want. And this will happen. You know, I realize that in places the database is a little clunky. Like, I thought at first it'd be really cool to have this 2 form set up. And this is, there we go. That's why that didn't open all the way. But the more that I use it, the more I really don't like it. The more I think I want to integrate these as one form. We're going to take this up here and put it down here in the footer of this form and just use one form. I think that'll work well for the meals too. Now the meals we might leave like this. I'm not sure yet. But the food for definitely I want to integrate it. And this is actually a teaching moment because I have personally spent weeks with clients developing what we thought would be the perfect interface for their business, for their database, right? And we'd flesh it all out on the whiteboard. I'd make sketches. I'd put a mock-up, in Access for them, or maybe even, in PowerPoint and show them what it's going to look like. They're like, yeah, they sign off on it. This looks fantastic. The management, right, of course. And then I'll spend, however much time building the actual database. And then once the people start working with it, they're like, it seems good in theory, but in reality, this doesn't flow right. We need it differently. We need to make changes. So this will happen. In any real world situation, you start working with the database, and especially in my case, the people building the database, me, aren't the ones using the database on a daily basis. So it was one idea to build it a certain way, thinking it'd be cool. And we learned some cool stuff, right? Like synchronizing 2 forms together. That's good stuff, good tricks to know, good tools to have in your box. But as I use this myself, I'm feeling that it's clunky and I want to kind of redesign it a little bit. And so this is something that's going to happen in your life as a developer. Your job as a developer is to adapt and improve, kind of like the Borg, right? You have to assimilate whatever the client wants and make it happen. So don't consider it going backwards or starting over. We're not going to do that. We've got, everything is cool. Our infrastructure is good under the hood. The tables are fine. The queries are fine. Just a little bit of a form redesign. Now, the first step, obviously, is to back up what you've got now, because I've also done that, too. I've also built databases, and then the client was like, we need to make some changes. And then after they work with the changes, they're like, we liked it better the first way we had it. So that could happen, too. So don't lose anything. Keep all the versions of your database. In fact, I just made a copy of it now, so I got a copy here, right? And I got some other weight loss stuff that I wrote years and years ago. I'm gonna update these for today and post these 2. These will be something I'll put on my website. But copy this, put a copy in your backup folder, date it, save it. That's why one of the reasons I like Google Drive is because it versions everything nicely for you. You can have multiple copies of the same thing up there. Oh wait, yeah, there I've got my obligatory backup warning slide that I got to put up on there. Backup your data. Backup your database before you make major changes to it. Okay? Okay. And as soon as you realize it's not exactly working for you or what you want or what the client wants, at that point, start considering redesigning, because it's better to redesign now when we've only got about 25% of the database built than it is to finish the whole thing and then have to go back and tear things apart after you've got all the polish on here. Don't polish a turd, right? If you're not 100% happy with it, fix it before you realize, it's a major problem. Okay? Okay. All right, so one of the first things I want to do is in the food table, we've got our is active down here. I want to set this to yes. I did this off camera before because it was defaulted to no before. And as you add new foods, you want them to assume to be active, right? So I'll make that change first. Sometimes moving forward, I might make some little notes for things that I change off camera. I'll be sure to mention them in the video, though, because I do that a lot. I'll be working with it, and it's, Thursday night at 9 p.m., and I'm like, you know what, I got to make a little change here. I'm not going to sit there and make a video about it, too. But I'll make notes. All right, so let's open these guys up side by side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of this stuff into the footer of this form. And that'll work because with a continuous form like this, you can have it still show you a single record on the bottom in the footer or in the header. All those fields will still be linked to the current record. All right, so let's design this guy. Now, when you go into design view here, it's going to close that form because we got the on close event here. So we'll have to open up the food form separately. Design view, there we go. I'm going to make this nice and big. We're going to keep these buttons. I'm just going to slide them down here out of the way for now. And then come over here. We're going to select all of these fields, copy, click over here in the form footer, and paste them in. All right, slide them over just a little tiny bit so they fit nicely. All right, looks good. Now, you're going to see some green little dots over here because not every field in here is in this guy's record source. Okay? Now, don't do anything with this food form. Keep it for now. Like I said, we'll hang out of that until we're sure we don't need it anymore. Okay, and now we got this stuff in the footer of this form. Let's take a moment and make this stuff white so we can actually see it. Let me select these guys and this, and this. Let's go to format, make it white. That's actually readable now. Okay, good. Now let's save this and let's go to the query that this guy is based on, which is food with group Q. Yeah, you can click the little button here to get to it, but I don't like doing that. Let's close this, and find it over here. Design view. I like to close my objects. I don't like having all those layered objects open. So the point of this query before was just to get that food group name, right? Which we call food group here. And then I got a bunch of other individual things in here. Let's get rid of these individual ones that we don't need. For example, we don't need that. Well, we'll get food group ID from this table. We don't need it from that table. We don't need this one. Let's leave this here for our sort, but let's hide it so we don't see two of them. Actually, that is food description. Yeah, let's leave that visible so we still see it because it's named differently. We got two descriptions in here, food description and food group description. All right, calories and protein we can get rid of because we're going to bring the star in. And we can get rid of is active. And now just bring in the food t.star and we'll get all those fields back, right? And if you run that, now we've got food group, we got food description, and then our calculated field, protein percent, and then we've got all of the fields from the food table, okay? And I like to do that because we can pull any of these fields into our form now, and we don't have duplicates. I don't like having like food t.description or food group t.description. I like to alias those and rename them. It just makes it easier in the long run. Now, can we still edit these things? Yeah, if you run this, you can see down here, look, as long as you can go to a new record and as long as you can edit in here, then this is still an updatable record set. If you make your query too complicated, you won't always have an updatable record set. I got whole videos on this subject. But we still do want to lock some things, though, because this is also updatable, right? If someone comes in here and edits that, it's going to update that table. We don't want that. So we're going to lock the food group field on that form. But we do want to be able to update all of this stuff. Okay? All right, let's save that. All right, close this. Let's go back to our food list. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is let's break this connection so that this guy doesn't open this guy, right? So let's go back to design view here. And that's going to be that show food F event. We can get rid of it here. And I believe it's also in all these click events. Yeah, we put it in a bunch of spots. So here, here, there, and there. It's in all of those. So I'll just select all of that. I'll select this on click over here, hit delete. That should change all of them. And if you want to get rid of that code, you can. That's up to you. If you think you might use it in the future, that's fine. I'm eventually going to delete that food F because it's duplicated of what's right here. So let's find it. Yeah, there is some pretty cool stuff in here, though. But again, I don't like having duplicated code in my database that I don't need. So let's excise that. It's in the past videos if you want to go find it. All right, save that. Now, since we're going to go about editing this stuff again, let's go back in here and let's turn back on the record selectors. Yes. And let's turn allow additions back to yes. I'm still going to leave allow deletions no, because I still want to use my delete button. I don't like giving users the ability to delete important stuff. Some forms I'll leave it on, yeah, but most of the time I want to use my own delete button. Now that also means that the add new button can be simplified. So let's right click and go to build event here. We don't need a lot of this. All we need in here is to go to a new record, right? Do command dot go to record, comma, comma, AC new record. That's all we need. We're going to do more with this later. We are going to do some more in here. All right, save that. All right, now if we look at these form fields, we got food group, we got food description, we got calories, protein, protein percent. Those are fine. Okay, that's description. Calories here is now text 76. Or 78, sorry, because it's duplicated from this one. Same thing with protein. All right, all the other fields that aren't up there kept their own names, but because there's already a field called calories and there's already a field called protein, these got renamed. So for now, let's allow everybody to pretty much keep the names they've got, but I don't like text 78 and 79. So let's call this one, I'm going to call this one protein 2. And we'll call this one calories 2. I'm just clicking here, copy, click here, paste, and then put a 2 in there. All right, and that's not super important because they're bound to the same table or the same field in the table. It's just the control names themselves are differently. And that can make a difference later on. But again, more on that one later. Now the save button, we don't really need the save button either because the purpose of the save button was to save the record and to update the list form, this guy. But since it's all one form now, we really don't need this unless you want to keep that there for noobs who don't know how Access works. You know, when you leave a record, it saves the data. A lot of people don't know that. In fact, I've made whole videos showing how to make a save button, you know, that for people that are used to Word and Excel where you got to manually save it. I'm going to get rid of it, though. We don't really need it. So, where's my save button? Oh, I don't have it. Oh, that code is in the other form. So this button doesn't have any code behind it. As soon as I went in the code builder, nothing happened. The save button code is in the other form. So we can just delete that button there. Which means all of this code. Yep, these other buttons, we're going to have to grab the code out of the other form. So we'll get that in just a minute. That's one thing to always remember when you copy objects from one form to another, their code doesn't come with them. So hang on to that other module or other form until you get all the code out of it. All right, so speaking of, let's do the delete button. Let's go back into here, design view. And let me move you over here. Come here, come here, come here. Right click, build event. Let's grab all of this. Copy it. Now here's a trick. If you want to go back to the other form, just close this form module window right there. Boop. And then put you back on the food list. See? Okay. Where's that delete button? We just made an empty thingy. Oh, nope. I just showed you the members only content. Uh-oh. Let's come in here and there it is. Delete button click. Let's paste that in there. See, if you're paying attention, you just got a quick peek at some of the form filter stuff. All right, now most of this I'm going to keep. All right, if isNull food ID, are you sure? Me.dirty is false. That saves the record. Deletes it from the underlying table. And now this is the part here that says if the food list is open, which it should be, then requery it and then close this form. Which we can get rid of that now and just requery the current form that we're on. But I don't want to requery the whole thing and have it, you know, have focus move back up to the first record. So I'm going to say me.recordset.requery. That requeries it in place. And yes, it beeps every time you hit that period there. I got a whole separate video on me.recordset.requery. I think I already told you guys. See, I'm getting to the point now where I don't remember what I've told you guys in parts 1 through 14. So I might repeat myself. Just deal with it. I'm old. Okay. All right, let's save it. And let's give it debug compile. We might see some errors. No, okay. And let's close this, close this. Let's take a peek at what we got. Save changes, food list. Okay. All right, looking pretty good. I can scroll down. For some reason, my mouse always beeps when I scroll down. See, I'm just using my scroll wheel right now, and it's beeping. I also missed that save records in some of these fields down here. So make sure you delete it out of description. Calories. Let's see. Proteins got it. All right, that'll fix that problem. Yep, there it is there too. Because we were saving it. Remember when we made the changes over here in the little form, we would save it in the big form too. Okay. Save that. Because those don't come up in a debug compile. If you've got those function properties in here, the compiler doesn't see those because those are properties in the form controls. All right, let's save it and let's try adding an item. Let's see if our delete code works here too. Let's go to add new. Okay, that's good. I would kind of like the focus to start here in the description field. And while we're at it, let's add that conditional formatting to these guys too so that they show up as yellow. So the user, I like that up here. So I'm going to select all of these. Let's make sure we got the same color though. Let's see, conditional formatting. All right, it's that dark yellow. All right. We're going to click on all of these guys. I'm holding down the shift key. Yeah, we can do the notes too. Format, conditional formatting, new rule, has focus, and we'll just give it that yellow background. I kind of like that. It works well for this database. All right, save it. Close it, open it. Let's have it so when we hit add new, the focus goes here. So design view, my add new button, build event. And right here, we're going to say, I think that one's just description. Description.set focus. Right, because the top one's food description. This one's just description. Okay. Let's see, add new. Okay, I like that better. And we're going to do something else to it this up to a little bit later on. I just want to test, make sure my delete code is still working. Let's put something in here. And now if I try to leave that record, look what happens. You can't add or change a record because you need a food group T. We're going to deal with that problem too, but for now, you have to have it in a food group. Okay, let's leave it. Good. Come back to it. Good. Let's delete it. Delete it. You sure? Yep. And it works. Okay, good. All right. Everything's working so far. I just noticed our tab order's off. Tab, 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 tab. This is fine up here. Down here, I want to go tab, tab. See, it skipped protein. Tab, 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 tab. Okay, so we're a little wacky down here. How do we want this to go? I'm going to say let's do this and then go down this column and then over here and then down those. That's how I think I'd like it to be. So to do that, we have to click on the form footer, then go into the tab order. And now we can arrange these guys. So description. All right, so the buttons, I don't like having buttons in my tab order. That's just me personally. I'm going to take them all out as tab stops, but I'm going to put them down the bottom. All right, description, calories 2, protein 2, fat, carbs, fiber, total sugar, added sugar. And then we need the food group combo after the sugars, then the URL, then active is active, then notes, and then all the buttons that I'm going to take out of the order. Okay, hit OK. I'm going to click on all of the buttons. That's just a me thing. I don't like having buttons in tab orders. If you want to be able to get to them with the keyboard, put little alt key tricks in them. Other, tab stop, no. And since they're different, you got to actually type in no. And let's do the same with that guy. Tab stop, no. All right, save it. See, if you want the little alt tricks in here, do the little alt. Now it's alt delete. All right, alt G for get macros. Alt A to add new. And then alt R for requery. If you want that, then do that. All right, and while we're at it, let's slide all these up here, make them all part of the same family. Add new. Do we got room? Let's see if we got room. Oh, we might not have room. Oh, we don't have room. That's okay. We'll make them all. See, and again, I like to keep these all the same size. Oops, I'm moving them. Come here. There we go. I'm sure we'll be adding stuff and moving stuff around, but for now, make that a little more compact. All right, save it, close it, open it. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking so much better. And now down here, tab, 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 tab. Beautiful. Perfect. All right, so that's pretty much it. That covers the redesign of the form that I wanted to do. I got rid of the second form. It's all part of the primary form now. It all works pretty much the same. Except I can't figure out why my mouse beeps when I scroll. This should still work. Let's see. B-A-N. Bananas. There we go. That should still work fine. Members, you got to move the code from get macros and the bot button from the other form and put those in these buttons. You should know how to do that. That's pretty simple. In fact, I just did it off camera. It took me 5 seconds. Get macros is the only code you need. The bot's part of the global module. All right, so we're good. We're good. It took us 20 minutes, and now I'm much, much happier with this form the way it is right now. I like it a lot better. I think it's a lot easier to work with. So new material coming up next. Let's see. Tomorrow is going to be August 1st. Tomorrow will be Quick Queries Friday. So Monday we'll get back into some new material. The first thing I want to do is when you go to add a new item, blah 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 blah, and if you try to leave that item, you get this. All right, I saw that. We saw this earlier. You cannot add because a related record is required. Now this is fine, you know. I don't like this. We're gonna give our own friendly message, so it tells people what's happening. This doesn't say anything, and it doesn't really explain what's going on. So what we're gonna do is make a friendly error message for it, and when that happens, we'll drop this box down and say, you know, pick one of these. Make it much friendlier for the user. And there's a trick you're gonna have to do, and it's not what you think. So stick around. And like I said before. After some of these videos, I'm going to start doing some Q&A, kind of quick query style about this series that people have posted. And just a comment from Nick. He says, nice teaser showing that there's already 15 parts. Oh, there's going to be a lot more than 15, Nick. A lot more than 15. Never been on a diet, and my weight is constant. And that's great, right? Eat healthy, don't overdo it. 3 games of squash a week do help. Of course they will. And that's fantastic. But for a lot of people, myself included, I'm the kind of person where if I don't pay attention to my weight, I will just slowly gain weight. That's what happened to me over the last 10 years. As I've said in previous videos, I went through a weight loss phase because I was 340 pounds when I was in my early 30s, and I had to work for a year or two, work hard to get, drop all that weight off. But then when I stopped that fitness regimen, the weight just slowly came back on to where, back up to 300 pounds without thinking about it. So for some people like me, I have to work at it. I have to be mindful of what I'm eating and get some exercise. And if I don't, then it just comes back on. So it's different for everybody. And some of the other comments I've seen from people say that, they hate tracking everything they eat. And that is true. And it's not something that you have to do for the rest of your life. It's just something that you have to do until you become aware of what's in what you're eating, right? When you become aware of how many calories you're actually eating, which I think a lot of people don't really realize how many calories are in something like, even healthy things like a teaspoon of peanut butter is loaded with calories. Good for you. They're good calories, but there's a lot in there. Walnuts, dried fruits, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of calories in there. It's good food for you, but you just got to be mindful of what you're eating. So Is tracking that stuff something you have to do for the rest of your life? No, but it's good to do for a while until you educate yourself and get used to what you're eating. Like now, I just know every day my breakfast has about 550 calories in it. I eat the same thing for breakfast pretty much every day. That'll form a routine. As far as everything else, yeah, some people need to track it. I do. That's just me. I'm very database oriented, though, as you could probably tell. Another question from the website, Jeffrey says, typically when I do this sort of sorting or filtering, I use VBA to rewrite the SQL for the form's record source instead of using me.filter or me.orderby. Is there an advantage to doing it one way or the other? And as Sammy and Raymond have pointed out, it's however you want to do it is fine. In fact, I do a lot of this, rewriting the SQL for the form's record source in a lot of my videos. And it's usually my preferred way to do that unless I want the user to have control over that filter and order by. Okay? If you just rewrite the record source property, then the user's stuck with just that record or records, whatever you give them. But if you want them to be able to turn the filter off or change it or change the sort on the fly, that kind of stuff, then accessing these properties work just as well, or if not better in that case. So it's just a different tool to have in your box. Both are fine. All right, so that's going to do it for today, folks. That is part 15. Again, tune in on Monday, August 4th, 2025 for part 16. And we'll cover even more stuff. And we'll do some new stuff. But that's going to do it for your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. And make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. Do you need help with your Microsoft Access project? Whether you need a tutor, a consultant, or a developer to build something for you, check out my Access Developer Network. It's a directory I put together personally of Access experts who can help with your project. Visit my website to learn more. Any links or other resources that I mentioned in the video can be found in the description text below the video. Just click on that show more link right there. YouTube's pretty good about hiding that, but it's there. Just look for it. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, tables, all that stuff. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? And if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it. And it's free for members of my YouTube channel at any level. Speaking of memberships, if you're interested in joining my channel, you get all kinds of awesome perks. Silver members get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, and there's hundreds of them by now. They also get one free beginner class each month, and yes, those are for my full courses. Gold members get the previous perks plus access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my Tech Help videos. Plus, you get access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions and all kinds of source code that I use. And gold members get one free expert class every month after completing the beginner series. Platinum members get all of the previous perks, plus they get all of my beginner courses, all of them from every subject, and you get one free advanced or developer class every month after finishing the expert series. And you can become a diamond sponsor and have your name listed on the sponsor page on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.